Hello, hello, hello. My name is Audrey Hamilton. I am the entrepreneurial assistant. I am a business coach, virtual project manager, and a network marketer. Tonight with me, I have Sonya Joy Mack, and we are going to be talking about how to banish the busy from our lives. So, Sonya, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, like what you like to do in your free time, music,
Sure.
what do you
Yes.
like to drink? So,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Little bits about myself. I'm a physician assistant by day, so my training is actually in medicine. I have a wonderful husband that we've been married almost 18 years. I have two little girls, 10 and 7. They are sassy, but I love them to death. Um, Let's see. My favorite, I am really my joke is I like red wine, though I don't drink it that often. That's my treat drink. But I really like Hint water. Have you ever had that? It's like just naturally flavored water, no bubbles, nothing. Um, I could not survive without Christian music, to be honest with you. That's what I play all the time in the car, at home, because I really think it helps like shore up the walls, and it's so inspiring and encouraging. And so when I'm feeling down, that is my go-to. Every once in a while I'll hit the country station just for something different. Um, and yeah, though that's kind of me in a nutshell. I love to read. Reading is I could probably be reading like 5 books all at the same, like, simultaneously. My husband thinks I'm crazy. Why are you reading 5 different books? Well, because I was
what's your
reading this
favorite?
one and it's nonfiction. And have you ever done that before?
No. Yeah, no.
No, of
I
course,
usually do
yes.
that all the
We all
time.
do.
Now that I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, almost now a 2 and 4-year-old. Oh
Oh
my
boy.
yeah, I don't get as much reading as I want to done, but
Yes.
I still like to
Yes.
read when I can.
Absolutely.
But yeah. What's your
Yes.
favorite genre?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm like Nicholas Sparks is my favorite author because he writes those like I don't want to. They're not like romance novels, but they're like they're like chick flick movies, right? So any book that's like a chick flick movie, um, that's what I think. That's why I'm sure we'll get to this later. But when I wrote my own book, when people ask about it, I'm like, well, it's kind of a chick flick. It's a true story, but it's a chick flick. And then I really like nonfiction that's about either something Christian related or positive thinking. So I like couple of my favorite books ever that I've read like more than once would be um, the Alchemist and The Power of Positive Thinking, which is by Norman Vincent Peale. The Alchemist is Paulo Coelho. I think I can never say that right, but those are like
Okay.
two of my go-to books. Yeah.
Very cool. Do you like any of the John Maxwell books? Just curious because that's one of my favorite
I
authors.
I know I haven't read those yet, but I've heard about him, so I should dig
Try
into one of
try
those.
walking with the giants.
Walking with the Giants. Okay.
It
Okay.
takes
Yep,
like
I totally will.
it takes a spin off of some biblical stuff and lessons that you learn. So it'll be like from
Okay.
Jonathan, here's some leadership lessons. Um, even
Ah.
the even the servant girl,
Uh-huh.
with the guy with leprosy, I cannot remember right now, but he talks about
Yeah.
them as well and stuff, and I love that.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Yes. Okay. That's on my to-do list, my to be read list.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your story. How did you
My
get into your
story.
business and stuff? So
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So that part of my story really started in 2005 when my mom was diagnosed with ALS, and my mom was my best friend. And so it was a pretty tough time. And that really rocked my faith. I think a lot of times anybody who's had like a really tough thing happen in their life, a real grief moment, um, can relate to that. And so she was diagnosed in 2005 and then passed away in 2010, so 5 years later. And during that period of time, I just kept asking, where do I find my joy? My mom named me Sonya Joy Mack because she said I was meant to spread joy to the world. And I was like, where do I find joy in all of this? And there was a day about halfway through that period, it was about 2007, where I was sitting up in a bedroom in my house, and I heard a very, wasn't audible in your ears, but everybody knows when they say they heard from God, like it's this, in your knower, it's this thing that just sits on there. I heard him say something bigger, something different. I even have like the Holy Spirit goosebumps right now, just trying to talk about it. Um, and I could not figure out what that meant for the longest time, something bigger, something different. And, there was a small part of me that was like, oh, I must be something, something bigger, something different. And, my ego would run me down that path for a few years. And then,
No.
yeah, right. None of us have egos
The
or
ego. The
that
ego.
run us astray. Oh, thank you for relating and also making me feel
I
more
get that.
relatable. Yes. And so it would be, then after my mom passed, both my first child was born, had to go to the NICU. My second child was born and almost died and had to have major surgery. So we're talking like this 12-year period of time where I just struggle after struggle and suffering after suffering. And that would eventually lead to this, like I said, what is this something bigger, something different? And as I was writing and asking God where my joy comes from and what is this something bigger, something different, I basically over the few years just got this download from him. It was all these principles, and that would eventually become the Live Joy Life, which eventually would become a business and a book. This whole story of going from my mom's death to something bigger would become a book. But yeah, so my story really started with my mom.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
she's
great.
sitting
That's
behind me
great.
right here. She always sits by. She always sits close by. I don't know. So a lot of people like have a sign or a symbol from above, for somebody they've lost, and mine is always the butterfly. So there's another tip about me. I wear a little butterfly with her initial around my neck because that helps me remember that she's always there. She was like my biggest cheerleader, and I think other people can relate. We always need a cheerleader in our corner, right? So that's what
Most
my mom
definitely.
does.
Right
Yep.
now, it's my son.
Oh,
He is so
nice.
cute. I don't know. He's so sweet. The rest of my family, they like that I'm running a business, but my son, he's my biggest supporter. He's 3, and he'll
Nice.
be like, he sits right beside me and he watches me work on my business. It's so sweet.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
Oh, he's so cute. He'll go, "You got this." Just
Oh, I
he's
love
so
that.
sweet. So sweet.
That's so
But
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, when I wrote my book, my daughter, she would have been 6 at the time. She wrote me a card that said like, "Dear Mom, great job making a book." And I
oh
was like,
yes,
"Oh,
it's
that's
those
so
little
sweet."
things. It's
But
those
it's
little
like
things.
it's the little things. Yeah, especially as, busy entrepreneur moms, we have, sometimes the enemy comes in our head and gives us the mom guilt about, like right now, my husband's putting my kids to bed or something like that. But it's the little things that remind us we're still doing a good job and they're seeing what we're doing and we're being
Yes.
examples for them in that, which is
Yeah.
big.
Yes, definitely. So, tell us a little bit about your business. What is the Live Joy Life? What do you do? I know you write a book,
Yeah.
which we'll talk more about your programs and stuff
Sure.
later in this video, but I want to
Yeah.
know what you do.
What
So,
I do. Yes. Yes. The Live Joy Life is, well, and when is a life coaching. It's me right now. It's a life coach. It's what I named my life coaching business. And I named it that because my mantra is don't just live life, live joy. And I think what happened is it kind of has evolved over time, but um, it it became this. I decided, I was already, when my book released, I was already teaching and kind of helping other people, and I was basically coaching with. And so I was like, oh, I'm just going to get a life coaching certificate. So I did that. And so, yeah, the Live Joy Life really is, it's life coaching, one-on-one group coaching. And then we have kind of an offshoot with my really good friend locally. And we do what's called Soul Sisters Unscripted because we really believe in the power of community. especially with women, supporting each other. And so we do some local events about building God-sized streams.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's great when you have somebody especially you can partner with on things like that. Just something that you could talk about, you can do events with and stuff.
Right.
So that's fun. So
Yes.
if you had a Bible verse, what would you say would match your business? Which Bible verse matches your business the most? I know
Yes.
you're
That's
Christian,
so
and
funny.
so that's exciting. I have to figure mine out
Yes.
still, but
Yes. I have a lot of verses I love, but if I had to, when I read that question, I was like, oh my gosh, how do I pick one? But the one that comes back to me over and over again is Romans 8:28, which is God works all things together for the good of those who love Him. And the reason that one is the one, that one, and slowly or very closely followed by Psalms 46:10, which is "Be still and know that I am God." So I think so many times the Live Joy Life and my book, This Changes Everything, they were both very much built off of what you would look at and see. When you would look at it from an outsider, you would look and see something very bad, something that's grief filled and pain filled. And I think that's a lot of times, what happens in life. We do as humans suffer. But we have this reminder in Romans 8:28 that God works all things together for the good of those who love us. And that doesn't mean that all things will be good, but that all things will work together for good. And that has been true in my life, even the worst of the worst, with my mom dying and my second daughter, she still has a lot of medical issues that we deal with, but He's working it all together. And that's really what the Live Joy Life is too, is just realizing that when we bring things back to God, He can work all things together for good. And I think that, like I said, closely followed by "Be still and know that I am God," because if there's anything that entrepreneurial moms or working moms are, it's busy. And that's why I really focused when I was trying to figure out what I really wanted to focus on and what the Live Joy Life would really, really, who it would really help the most. It was busy working moms, because I realized that where it helped me the most was in that busy. And so that's where "Be still and know that I am God" comes in, because no matter how busy we get, no matter how crazy things get, how painful things get, if we can just be still and know that He is God and know that He's going to work all things together for good, it helps us get through where we are right now.
definitely.
Yeah.
And those are some good verses. Especially the "Be still and know God," because if anything, I am almost a whole ball of nerves at times.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight,
Yes.
a whole ball of coffee.
Yes. You're well caffeinated tonight. We were just talking about that. I can tell you're a lot younger than I am.
No.
Yes, that's okay though. That's okay.
Yeah, I've only had 5 cups of coffee, or at least like 4 cups of coffee within like the last 2 hours.
There you go,
So
girl. I mean, I don't know
three
how many
especially.
people, I don't know how many people listening could have that much coffee and still go to bed tonight, but it wouldn't be me.
Oh, it should be me. It should be me. I mean, I've stayed up late the last few nights, so I mean, I should, but we'll see. I might not be able to go to bed till 2 in the morning. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
But yeah. So, what are some suggestions you would have for busy moms to help them to not get burnt out or frustrated or just like feeling stuck?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things that I teach as part of my Live Joy Life course is time blocking, because I found it so, so important to me. And essentially, the quickest version of time blocking I can teach is you literally take every hour of every day, 7 days a week, and you break it down into little chunks. And when you do that, and especially if you are married or with someone or have a significant other, or if you have older kids that live with you, if you can do it as a family and break things down, you can find more time in your day than what you could have ever imagined. So I know myself. I have a full-time 40-hour a week job, two busy kiddos. I have a husband. I have I have a business. I'm an author. So I'm very active in my church, so I just literally have to break down every hour of every day. Especially, I have a day off on Thursdays, and that day everything is broken down because I know that that's the day that I'm going to get the most done. But for someone like you, even Audrey, so if you broke your time down into, say this particular day, like I know from here to here, my kids are going to do nap or they're going to do this. I might be able to get XYZ done. And then if you kind of roll over, it's okay, but you take the most important things that you need to get done and you plug them into the little time slots that you have, even if it's only like a half an hour or, an hour here or there. And then just, especially if you're with a significant other, blocking out those little, like, I have like a 2 hour time slot on a weekend a lot of times where my husband knows that Sonya's work time. And so he allows me to go do that. And then I pay that back to him, just in a way of like, this is Joe's time to go do what he needs to do. Because another tidbit about me, we're remodeling our entire house. So let's
I
just add one
remember
more thing to
that.
the mix.
I
Yes,
remember you
yes.
recently remodeling your office.
Yes, so this is not my office. What you're seeing right now, I'm actually in part of my kitchen, and I just faced myself towards the part that made it look the most like an office. So it's the
It works
illusion.
well.
My office
It
is
works well.
actually over there, and it's torn apart. So,
Well, it
kitchen
works.
it
It works.
is. Yep,
Works fine. That's where I'm kitchen and living room.
yep,
This is my work
yep,
area and stuff.
yep.
So yeah.
Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
So what kind of like oh, oh you kind of did that. So what are some other suggestions? Like if there were like what are some things you found very helpful for you during your day that it's almost a have to be? Or else
Yes.
you feel like you don't get anything done or any me time done.
Yeah. So, one thing so I wake up every morning and the first thing I do is some kind of movement, whether that's yoga or like a short workout. I don't, or like a walk or something like that, just because that gets me moving in the morning. And then the next thing I do is something that my spiritual director and I talked about that works really well for me because I'm a writer, which is, we call it morning pages. And I will just take a pen and start writing to God as if I'm talking. But because I'm such a written person, writing it out just really helps me get my feelings out more. And then sometimes I'll actually write back. So that's my prayer time essentially. So some
I
kind of
like that
movement.
idea. I
It's
might have to
really
try
good.
that.
Yep. And then if it's like, sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes we get angry with God or we feel betrayed by God, but he can take it because he's a big God. So we can let all that out on paper. And then if we don't want to keep it like in our journal, we can always tear it out and either keep it in a different box, or we can tear it out and shred it, or we can tear it out and put it in the bonfire or something like that.
Yeah.
Then I always try to find at least a few minutes of stillness, which is usually just quieting my mind and either saying a prayer or thinking about, trying to think about nothing, how our brains wander like that. But I also follow Tony Robbins. He does this little 10-minute morning thing. So I do like 3 minutes of gratitude, 3 minutes of envisioning my goal for the future, and imagining it being completed. And then 3 minutes of like love. How can I show love to other people today? Because those gratitude and love are such important, positive mindsets to have. The kind of going back real quick to your other question about tips for helping not get burnt out with women, and especially women entrepreneurs. One thing I was going to tell them is to delegate things that they absolutely hate doing, which is one thing that, like, your strength is not my strength, which is why I love working with you because your strength is not my strength. I can do some of those things, but I'm not a big fan of them. And what would take me 2 hours takes you 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think not being afraid to delegate to someone who has, talents and gifts in other areas, because again, we're talking about time here. And ultimately, for the longest time, I was like, I'm not going to pay somebody to do something that I know how to do. But then I realized, like, my time is so valuable that I think I'm actually costing myself more by trying to do it myself. So time blocking, delegating, the things that I really dislike. And the very last thing that I would highly recommend to every woman, whether they're an entrepreneur or not, at the end of the day, is when you're laying in bed to imagine that someone, it can be God or it can be yourself or anyone, took a plug and just pulled the plug on your feet. And what you let drain out is all of the worries of the day, all the things that are bothering you, all the things that you're thinking about for tomorrow. And you just it's like resetting your whole body. It's just like every single thing can just let go because, God even tells us not to worry about tomorrow, right? And so time blocking, delegating, and pulling the plug, those are the three absolute must-dos for me. And I think they'd be super helpful for others.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing those. They were great. In your program, you have a method called the ACE method. Do you want to share with us a little bit about what that method is like?
Sure. Yeah. ACE stands for assess, contemplate, and execute. And so, as I mentioned, when I was getting this download for the Live Joy Life from God, he basically gave me these 12 principles. They're like biblical, spiritual principles, things like choice, faith, hope, love, laughter, gratitude, generosity, inspiration. So there's 12 of them. The very top one is choice, because no matter what happens to us, we always have some kind of a choice of what to do with that. Now, I speak that coming from someone who's been in grief. When I lost my mom, grief was not a choice, right? But you can choose to be in grief for years, or you can choose to, if you can't get out of grief on your own, you can choose to go to a therapist, or you can choose. So there's little choices. That's what I want to make sure, because I know like people bristle at that word choice. So basically the ACE method, ACE stands for ACE is ask the question. So we all, during the day have this big Rolodex of things going through our head. Like at any given time, we're worried about our kids, something with our kids or our marriage or our work or our business or all these different things that are going on. And assess is ask the questions. So going through and asking all the questions about what's going on. And this is something that I really work through with my coaching clients, but just to give you the briefest example. And then contemplate is bringing it back to God, bringing all of these things. And we usually work on the one or two top ones at a time. And we bring them back to these principles in a very specific way. There's some foundational principles, and we pick, one of those foundational principles to really concentrate on. And then usually one or two supporting principles underneath. And what that does is it gives us a plan for how to take all of this crazy mental clutter, worry, anxiety that's going on in our head, bring it back to God in a very controlled, this is something I can handle. Pray with him, and he always does just move you to, I can really feel this. And a lot of times too, he'll kind of move me to help the person. I really feel this. What is that feeling like for you when I say this word? And then we come up with a plan, and that's where the execute is. So I'll give you a quick example. I had a really rough time with a coworker over the last few years, and I was going to my spiritual director, and this was when Live Joy Life was just starting. And she said to me, well, what would the Live Joy Life say about it? And I was like, ooh, okay, this is great. And so a coworker, right? This is great. Use your own advice.
I know. Sometimes that's the worst advice too at that moment.
I know, but it was actually awesome for me. And so, the foundational principle, faith, hope, and love, the foundational principle for me in that was love. It just came to me when I thought of it, because God even says love your enemies, right? So I needed to show this person love even in the face of not receiving it, not getting it from this person. And then, the supporting principles, I was really called by the Holy Spirit for gratitude. One, just gratitude that I have a job at the time, and that it was supporting my family, and also forgiveness, because we're called to forgive. And so I needed to forgive this person. So I needed to just not only look at him with love and recognize that he's probably going through some of his own things, but also learn to forgive. So then when I went to work every day, the execute part, every day I have these principles in my pocket. And so when I start to get upset with this person or they treat me poorly, I have this executable plan. Oh, he's treating me poorly. Faith, love, gratitude. How can I show faith, love, or gratitude in this moment? And it really empowers you because you've got this plan, you've got this thing that you and God. And then, like I said, I am a big part of that with people, but that you can execute. And it's such like a Holy Spirit goosebumps again, but it's such an executable thing for you to go out there and actually use, instead of just feeling overwhelmed and like defaulting to anger.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just get just going sometimes. I'm so excited about it.
Perfect. That is perfect. That's what this time is for you to go and talk about anything you want to, almost as long as you want to.
Awesome.
So, I mean, try to keep it an hour tops, but
yes.
No, we got another 30 minutes at the most. So
no, you're fine. We're good.
But yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about your Live Joy Life program, what more of your intention is behind it, and stuff, and also your book too. You mentioned you have a book.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So right now, like I said, I have one-on-one one-on-one coaching, which is 10-week sessions, 10 1-hour sessions, usually 1 week apart, but they can be kind of split apart when it's just one-on-one. But they just go in different levels depending kind of on the package. But right now, what I'm really loving and focusing on is this group coaching idea, because I really want to get women together so that they can support each other and love on each other and help each other through this process of the ACE method, and just overcoming this busyness. And so my coaching program right now, with the group coaching, is 6 1-hour sessions, usually held on the same day, 1 week apart. And it includes this comprehensive deep dive into the ACE framework. And we talk about time blocking, and there's handouts to help us really with all the principles on them, so you can scribble all over them when you feel inspired, if you're like me. We record all the sessions and we put them, and then we have this private Facebook community to really get people again in this community portion. So I'm super, super excited to launch that. And that's going to start, it's starting soon. It's in September 30th. So that sign up is like right now. So I'm really, really, really excited to get started on that. And then, like I said, in the local Des Moines area, I know you live in North Carolina, which I love North Carolina. It's my favorite state in the United States.
Well, come back over sometime. Come especially closer to like High Point and stuff like that, and you and me will get some coffee.
Okay, we will for sure. Yeah, I've been there 3 times now. Yes, I love it. And yes, but we do, like I said, we do some local building God-sized dream events too. So that's really what I'm excited about right now, is getting started on that Live Joy Life coaching and doing the group coaching. My book, it's very near and dear to my heart. It is a Christian nonfiction true story. It basically is, I wrote it to remind people who've lost someone they love that we never have to live without them, because our memories are so strong. And but it's not just a book for someone who's lost someone. There's so much good stuff in there. After I wrote it, I realized that, oh my goodness, I really, there's such good stuff in here. Like, other people need to read this. And I'm not saying that to be like, ooh, I did such a good job, because so much of that came down from God. Like, I would just be writing and it's like my hand was going and it wasn't me. There's stuff in there just about, being your best self, and following your dreams and all of that. And so it's called This Changes Everything. So it's really exciting.
That's awesome. That's very, very awesome. And I still have to get your book. And no,
Oh,
I have not gotten it yet. I'm wanting to. I just have
that's
to
all
actually get it.
right.
But yeah,
Yes.
I looked at all your testimonials and all the
Oh,
reviews and stuff, and it sounds like a wonderful book.
yeah. Thank
Where
you.
is it? The book on your website? I think it is.
Yeah, you can look.
Yeah.
You can see the book on my website. You actually order it from Amazon or Barnes and Noble or anywhere books are
Awesome.
sold
Awesome.
really right now. But Amazon and Barnes and Noble are probably the easiest ones to order it off of. It's available locally here in Des Moines, but and then also I have copies. But yeah, so I mean, if anyone wants an autographed copy, they can ask me and I'll get them one. But yes, otherwise, this is the traditional routes. But yeah, it was just such a for me, that book was more than just a story. It's also like meant to show people that you can do it. Like I didn't have a writing background. I like to write, but I was trained medically. But here I had this idea. God gave me an idea and I put action behind it and it became this
Yes.
book and now it's helping people. And that's what I want to like empower other women to recognize is like if God gives you an idea and you put action behind it, it can change it changes everything. This changes
It's
everything.
the
So
best thing. It's the best thing. It
yeah,
really does change everything. And my
it sure
business is actually a
does.
full testimonial on that itself because
Yes.
God gave me the vision to do this business. And since then, it
Yeah.
has changed everything for me and my
Yes.
kids. I'm a single mom
Yep.
and I have two kids. And so, I mean, when God
Yeah.
gave me this business, it has provided for me and my kids.
Yes.
And it's been growing and it's still growing today
Yes.
and it's been great.
That's
So it
awesome.
does. I know you follow God's will and he gives you an idea and a plan. It works out. It works out better
Yes.
than
Praise God.
you think and changes everything.
That's awesome. I'm so excited.
So to work with Sonya, I will put in your group coaching program
Oh,
in the
thank you.
links,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
also your book too.
Sure.
I already know that your website is up in the description, so you guys can go check
Mm-hmm.
out her website too now if you want to. But yeah, so now I do this. So we do
Mm-hmm.
this to mock the word because I don't believe
Yes.
impossible is truly impossible. But what
Right.
is your
Right.
impossible goal for your business?
Right. And it's so funny that you said that. And I loved that question because my friend Lindsay and I's Whole Sisters Unscripted was really based off of building God sized dreams. And God sized dreams is what, like you said, is mocking that word impossible because nothing is impossible with God, right? So if you have God
Yes.
on your side, nothing is impossible. Oh my gosh, my God sized dream. I have it all written out, so I won't bore you with all the
Ah,
details, but
even better. I love that. I love
uh-huh.
the
Oh
information
yeah.
behind that because not enough people do
Yep.
that, honestly. I love that.
Oh my God. It's amazing. Yes. And I mean, it's in Habakkuk, like write it on stone tablets. So, girls, ladies, whoever's listening, write your dreams down and don't be afraid to put
Yes.
anything in them. But basically, um, the Live Joy Life is going to have life coaching, not just me, but many others. I'm going to train other people how to be Live Joy Life coaches and use the ACE methods and teach it. I'm going to do courses. I would love a membership where, it's more of this community of just hundreds to thousands of women that are just supporting and loving on each other and talking about how we can use this Live Joy Life ACE framework and bringing in speakers into this community for us to be able to go out and just feel empowered to do what we're going to do. Soul Sisters Unscripted is going to do twice yearly events. We're going to start traveling throughout the United States with them. I would also like to do twice yearly Live Joy Life events, but more like quiet retreats that are kind of out in nature areas where we can just really get, more intimate and connect with God. And then I am going to start speaking, and actually, I have a couple speaking gigs already set up. So really my quote impossible dream is just to replace my day job eventually with the Live Joy Life. And, you know, so much of what I've read and what I've heard and what God has told me is, God gives us an imagination. So this imagination you have, these dreams you have in your heart, in your head, in your imagination, that's not you making them up. As long as they're for the good of God and the good of others, those are not your made up dreams. That's God giving you an image of something that he wants you to pursue. And the only way to conquer the fear is to put action behind it. And it's just super exciting. So what's your impossible dream? I would love to hear it.
So my humble impossible dream, and I say
Yes.
this very nicely. People say I'm too ambitious, so I'll share that very ambitious one
Nope.
in a little bit. But my already impossible dream is actually to start up a chain of cafe/learning centers. And it would be a worldwide chain. And what it is going to be, what my goal is for it is I already am working on an online course that I'm praying will be fully launched by January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And this program will be available in each of the learning centers. But what I want it to do is for any entrepreneurs, even single parents, or anybody who just doesn't have a place to go that struggle getting things done, especially with young kids. I want them to have a place to go. So I want there to be some kind of daycare kind of thing that people could work with. They could get things done. If you don't have anything available that you can really use, like no laptop or anything, we'd have some available. Of course, there would be certain fees and there would be a certain process to make sure that you're not just taking advantage or anything. You have to have coffee. I mean, it's just necessary. I am a coffee fanatic. I have to have my coffee. I drink coffee. I was just on a call before, and basically it runs down to I drink coffee like I should be drinking water.
Sure.
Which is bad for me, but I mean, we're I mean, bundle of nerves and energy over here right now. But
Yes.
yeah, so you have to have coffee and stuff, but this would be a worldwide chain.
Oh, I
My
love that.
absolutely impossible goal would be to be the most well-known woman entrepreneur. And to
Ooh, that's
inspire
awesome.
any other women to be to go after the goals, to make the most impossible goals that they can possibly think of and actually go for them.
That's
Not just
awesome.
be impossible goals could be getting a house, and you could feel like that's impossible, but what after? That is something that's very attainable. What happens after you get your own place? What happens once you go and start traveling the world? What after? What impact are you wanting to create? And that's what I want to inspire is more impact.
Yeah, I love that.
But
Good
yeah,
for
those
you,
are my
girl.
impossible goals. The first one is my more
Yes.
attainable one. The second one is 10 times that goal. And that's what I also
Hey.
like to do is 10 times my already impossible goal. So
Amen. Amen.
a long time. But I'm 22.
That's awesome.
I'm still young. We got a
Oh my
long time to
gosh.
go.
You're
I got
so young.
many
You've got so
unlimited
much
health.
time. You
I
go,
got a lot
girl.
of potential. We got this.
Yes, you've
Yeah.
got this.
So where do you see yourself at the end of the year?
The end of this year, as in like 3 months?
Yeah. Like 3
Great
months.
question. Yep. Doing Live Joy Life coaching, group coaching, some one-on-one coaching. I'm really going to hit the book trail again hard at the end of the year because my book will be 1 year old in December. And here again, all things work together for the good of those who loved God. So after my book launched last year, I actually got really sick with a unexpected diagnosis and couldn't do anything for about 3 months. I was barely I was just surviving. So I feel like this is kind of my revamp, but it was God's way of telling me that I needed to slow down a little bit. I needed to take better care of myself, and I needed to let go of anger that I was holding in towards other people, which is just, I needed to use the Live Joy Life. I wasn't using my own advice, once I started using it
That's
again.
what was stopping you.
Yep,
That's
that's why he's like,
made you
oh,
sick.
you need to learn your own lesson. So, yeah, so the end of the year, I've got some book fairs really, and then, I'm gearing up for a couple speaking engagements out at some churches, and then just really doing the Live Joy Life coaching. And I would really like to get a course, start doing like an outline for a course that I could, for people who want to do more like a self-study kind of thing. Yeah.
Definitely needed. I mean, that's still needed. I think mini courses too do well. And there's something
yes.
that they don't take up a lot of your time.
Yes.
And it would help you get to some more of your goals a little bit faster, I believe. So
Yes.
I love courses. I feel like any evergreen offers are great, like your book.
Yes. Yes. We need another strategy call.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
I love that because that's what I'm doing. So
if you haven't hired Audrey yet to help you, delegate. She's incredible. She does what she does what you ask, and if it's not exactly what you want, she'll change it up for you. And she's great. She's great.
yes.
She has saved my life numerous times. My
That's
sanity
great. That's
and my
job.
joy.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I love to hear. So, and
Yep.
my goal is to make life easier. Get it exactly how you want it, your
You do
vision,
it great.
your business vision. So is there anything else you would like to add?
No, just like not an official prayer, but just a prayer for every woman. Sorry, guys, I work so much with women because it just connects with my heart so much. But just a prayer for every entrepreneur out there, anybody who's got a vision from God, who God has put something bigger, something different on their heart. I just want you to keep going. I'm in the same spot sometimes where I'm just so tired and I want to quit, but I know that beyond the next heartache is the next breakthrough. Beyond the next heartache is the next breakthrough. And if I just keep going, God will continue to reward those steps. And that's what I want to tell you. Just keep going. And don't just live life, live joy.
Awesome. I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh,
thank you very much.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, of course. For anyone watching this, if you are on YouTube, which I'll be posting after this, the link to her website will be in the description. And for anyone on Facebook, it'll be up in the description. And then I'll also put in the comments her book link and her course link for anyone interested. So
yes, thank you.
If you guys have any questions too, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll make sure that Sonya gets a hold of them. And you guys can also reach out to her through her website and stuff. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Sonya, for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
I hope everyone has a wonderful night.
Yes, God bless you all. Mwah.